All right. If it's Tuesday, I'm probably not prepared. If it's Tuesday, it is time for Comic Book School Live, your favorite show about the craft and business of making comics. I'm here with my friend Deanna DeSito. Deanna, we got a pretty big show tonight. Look at you smiling. You're all in your green. You look very happy.
I don't know why.
You are. You're very happy. This is a wonderful day. It's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I even brought my green microphone.
Oh, nice.
So I'm super excited, and we have a good guest on tonight who will be talking about independently published comics, and you know a lot about that.
I do. We got some friends saying hello. A. Campbell says hello, everybody.
Hello, A. Campbell.
Glenn. Hey there.
Hey, Glenn.
What's up, Glenn? That's all I got.
What you got so far?
That's all I got.
I see people in the audience. I can actually see them in the back. But if that's all, now we have a new function where you can pop out the comments, right? Were you able to do that?
Okay, here we go. Matthew says, "Hola."
Hola. Is he dialing in from a Spanish-speaking country? We don't even know anything about Matthew Giff, other than it's pronounced GIF.
Should we all do an icebreaker roundtable? We all share one thing about ourselves.
You go first.
No, I'm good. I hate those things so much.
All right. Well, you know what? For icebreakers, why don't we just say, if you're new to the show, my name is Buddy Scalera. I am a writer of many, many comics, educational materials, and I come from the world of Wizard, including Wizard World. So if my name sounds familiar, it's probably from different places, including my photo reference. And I am joined by my good friend and also fellow Wizard alumni, Deanna DeSito, best known for The Beat, an Eisner Award winner, I will add. I'm pretty impressed by that. Yes, yes. And also a writer in your own right. And you've been doing a lot of writing on your Patreon. So I think people are going to be pretty excited about it. People subscribing to your Patreon?
They are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And what did Matthew say?
I often break ice with my teeth, which my dentist and dinning companions hate.
Well, and I just heard somebody ring the doorbell. So we are going to welcome our guest to the show, Jimmy Palmiotti. Welcome.
How you doing? Oh, applause. I like that.
Yeah, well, we have a studio audience. We're pretty excited. And I see you wore some green, Jimmy, because you're Irish.
I actually had a green sweater on, but I'm in Florida and I'm too hot with it on. You know what? I'll get it if you really want me to put it on.
You know what? It's all right. I'm just glad to have you.
Okay. I actually we took Amanda's parents out for corned beef and cabbage, and we all wore green, and so I think I covered all the bases with that. And since my middle name is Irish, I figured I had to do that. You know.
Jimmy Irish Palmiotti?
No, it's James O'Leary Palmiotti.
Oh.
I never knew that. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Jimmy, what are you sitting on your microphone? What's so scratchy? Where's your microphone? You sound very scratchy.
It's the computer microphone. For some reason, this picked my computer camera and not my regular camera. So, let me see if there's a way of changing that on here.
Yeah, you sound a little scratchy, but you know what? That's okay. But people who are here to see
All right,
you.
I want to know what Deanna thinks. Deanna, is that bad or what?
It's when you move. I get a little. It's
All
a
right,
little.
I'll try not to move.
Yeah, it's like picking up some sort of movement, and it's like, stay still, don't move.
So Deanna, we're here for a pretty exciting event, and I'm going to give the air horn for this. That's right. Jimmy is celebrating 30 years of doing Painkiller Jane. We're going to be taking you through that as a landmark in independent comic book publishing. We're going to go through the history of how that started and where we are now with a major Kickstarter. So, Jimmy, we're going to take a little tour through your life. But first, we should note that Jimmy has been supporting comic book school since since before there was a comic book school.
That's true.
When it was just called Wizard School. And Jimmy was always a great supporter of me personally and of everything that we've done. You've been on the show many times. You've been on the live where we used to do it a lot more in New York Comic Con. They don't have us on as much anymore.
I don't, which I don't understand. I mean, it's your panels were the best at the con. I mean, they were informative, which not all the panels are. A lot of the panels are, hey, ask that guy 4 questions, and that's it. Yours were like going to school and learning from the people that were actually doing it, as opposed to when we go to a regular school. Sometimes we're having people teach us things that never did it. I mean, you wrote comics as opposed to people who. I once in a while I find myself with people who telling me how to do Kickstarters that never did one, and I always sit there and I go, interesting. I've done 25, but you tell me what I'm doing wrong. Go ahead, lay it on me. But your panels in New York are some of the best. I mean, I wish we were able to record them all. That would have been a
Yeah, we
great thing.
recorded one or two of them. I think I have some recordings of one or two. And I should note, and I say this with great admiration and appreciation, I would not have a comic book career if it were not for Jimmy. There were 100% certainty that comic book school would have never gotten off the ground, and a 100% certainty that I would have never written for Marvel Comics.
We had a nice
Jimmy
short run. We had a nice short run for a while there with care of Mike Martz, who gave me a break and gave you a break.
gave us both a break, and I got to just tell you, I remember it fondly, including the advice that you gave me at the time. You were like, "Slow down and enjoy it," and I went, "Oh yeah, I should."
Yeah, yeah.
So Jimmy,
I
the
have to
last
write
time
things
you were
like
on,
that now. Yeah.
the last time you were on, I showed this graphic because I just wanted to show some of the things that you had published and some of the more recent things, some of the older things, and it
Yeah.
hasn't been that long, and yet you continue to just hit the stands with multiple amounts of work. I don't think I got all of it, but I will tell you, I am impressed with your productivity.
I definitely. It's funny. We're going to MegaCon, I guess tomorrow, right? We're heading over there, and I'm actually helping Amanda color pages while she's doing a omnibus cover, and they're all due tomorrow, by the way. Like
Perfect.
we're working, and I got to tell you, I mean, I definitely slowed down a little bit, but I've actually, it doesn't show. And I think it's because, like, in the past 6 months, I've had things that I worked on for a year or two all come out in the same 6 months. So it looks like for a while there, I had 3 books a month for like 4 months come out, and that's a lot. That's a lot. My steady one is the Gunslinger, which is even up there. It doesn't tell
I
you.
didn't even, yeah, I didn't even put that. I was just trying to find stuff to put up there. You
Yeah,
have so much
that's my
stuff.
monthly. That's my monthly book with Todd McFarlane. But it's like I constantly, and you know this, I'm constantly working on another project by myself, and I'm putting my money into. I'm paying other artists, to work with me, but I constantly have stuff. I think I like to say, and I think I've said this before. Like my brain is like a really very busy, full up parking lot full of ideas, and I need to move some cars out. I need to I need to make some new spaces, and so like the stuff, like I look at the Punisher books, the 2 Punisher books. I mean, one of them was like 6 years old, the Dan Panosian one. We actually working on it 6 years ago, and then we had to wait. We had to sit on that for a while because it tied in with another book that wasn't done yet. And then while I was doing that, like a couple of months back, they said, "Hey, would you be interested in pitching us a Daredevil Punisher?" And I said, "Yeah, if I can do it where it happens right after the Welcome Back Frank Garth Ennis book, which gave them the idea, if you go to the lower left, to put out the Welcome Back Frank book again since my series was out. So they put that in that small edition. I have one somewhere." Yeah, so it seemed like, and then Pop Kill and all that kind of stuff. All the other stuff is going on. The Harley Elvira one is the one that's been like very busy because we're not only writing it, but Amanda's doing like 3 or 4 pages per book, and I'm coloring stuff like the covers. Although Amanda colored that one, but it's I don't have the companies knocking down the doors like they used to. And that's why you always say, enjoy what you're doing while you're doing it. But I never, someone at DC told me a very funny thing, and I thought it was pretty smart. They said nobody up here is worrying about you. They said that to me, meaning, I'm always like, hey, what do you got next? Everything, and they just told me, they said nobody's worrying about you. And I said, what does that mean? They know if you're not working for us, you're just doing work. You're getting stuff out anyway. So nobody's thinking about you. But he said, in general, that's how every freelancer should think. Like, nobody's thinking of you. You need to constantly hustle, and you need to constantly, I do social media, that, to talk to people. I like to connect with the fans and everything. How many projects do you? The limit is when you feel like you have no life or you have no wife. I definitely prioritize
You're moving
fun
too much.
things.
You're scratchy. You're moving too much.
Okay, I'm trying to say it's. I'm very Italian. It's like I'm actually sitting on my hands so I don't swing around too much. Um, I think you know when it's too much when it's all you're doing. I mean, I will say when we did Harley Quinn, Amanda and I, it became too much, and that's when we just stopped. We just stopped doing it. We just were like, okay, we're done for a while. I think and you guys understand this. Writing doesn't pay very well. Comics don't pay very well, so you have to do like a couple of books a month, even just to make regular bills. Um, but I think when it's too much is when I can't keep track of things, and that's when I drop something. I usually, or in the past 2 months, I said no to 4 things because I was like, it's not right for me. The timing is too quick. They want it right away, and or it's just like that's not something I do. I got asked to do a project, or I had one project where it was two licensors working together, and one of the licensors decided to show me how to write the character and wrote me a couple of pages of the script, and I was like, "You're gonna have to write that one then. If you really want it that bad, I'm out." So it's not always. I just think it's a waste of time if I'm writing something that I'm not into. Then how am I going to get anybody else into it? So I'd rather not do it.
Well, here's the thing. If you had two projects that weren't right for you and another two projects that weren't right for you, Deanna's sitting on your right, I'm sitting on your left. You just forward those right over to us.
There you
We'll
go.
take those
Yeah,
off your plate for you.
yeah. It's good to know. It's
Mm,
good to know. You'd be surprised.
I'm here for you.
I think a lot of the editors, how do I say this? When you become a writer where they don't have to worry about you so much, that's when you get a lot of work.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like they'll tell me I need a script by next Tuesday, and next Monday it'll be in their email from me. It'll be done.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Plus,
you've
they get
always
an
been a
editor
very good
because
freelancer.
I kind of edit the art and the color and everything on the books when I'm doing them.
Well, we want to jump into the work that you do, but I do want to point this shirt that was circulating on the internet. If at first you don't succeed, try doing what Jimmy told you to do the
I
first
just
time.
found that I just found that online. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is actually pretty accurate. And Deanne, if you ever have advice that Jimmy gives, just do it.
Okay, I need that shirt. I'm gonna have to buy that shirt.
Yeah,
I would never wear that shirt, by the way.
I would wear that shirt. I would
No,
wear
who
that if we
cares?
went to New York panel with you again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you wearing it makes sense. Me wearing it seems like I'm insane.
Yeah.
So
So if you want to know more about Jimmy Palmiotti, I would recommend that you go to paperfilms.com, which is a very small window into the work that Jimmy does with his wife, Amanda, and his other collaborators. It just scratches the surface. It's mostly the creator owned work. You can buy prints, you can buy books, you can buy digital downloads. All the different Kickstarter items are up there if they're still available. But right now, we're talking about 30 years of Painkiller Jane. Let's jump back to the beginning of this. Oh, we're just showing what the graphic for the Kickstarter looks like, but I guess I'm going to put the slides in this order. Some covers from Painkiller Jane that you can find on Paper Films. I imagine that you can download these. So, you've done a lot with Painkiller Jane, including many crossovers. You have you kind of remind me, Jimmy, of like a rock star who jams with other bands because you like doing it. And the closest I can most closely associate you with, and I mean this in the best way possible because we just saw him a few months ago playing literally a small club, is Slash from Guns N' Roses. He plays a
Yeah,
small club at Montclair, New Jersey, and then he plays the Garden. And you're
right.
kind of like that. Like you do it because you like to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. He just wants to play, and I get that. He just wants to play, and he likes an audience, I guess. What we do for a living is we're trying to entertain an audience. We don't actually get to sit with them and watch them read our books and stuff like that. So I can imagine how satisfying it is to play in front of people and have them react. That must be something so cool. Like I said, we don't have that. The closest we have is at a con, and people come up and say they like something, or they tell you didn't like it and why, and all that kind of stuff, and that's feedback. But I honestly, I tell Amanda a lot of times. I said if I wasn't doing comics, I wish I knew how to play an instrument, or I did something. I had all these other jobs I would have loved to do, but comics really. Was the one job that kind of can leave you alone to do your own thing in a way, and
But the
then
variety of things that you do,
yeah,
the sheer variety, and like, look, when we went back, let's just go back to this. I mean, the variety of different things from Harley Quinn and Elvira to the Punisher to Pop Kill to all of your Kickstarters, you're just doing things that you want to do, which I think
yeah,
is pretty much the rock star thing to do.
yeah. I mean, I definitely could have decided to take on some more popular things in my time. Like I turned down the X-Men and a whole bunch of stuff because I felt like there's better people that can write it. And I know I probably should have a couple of gigs. I turned down a year of Superman um, because I love Superman, but the editor at the time wanted to tell me what to do, and I said, "Listen, I've been reading Superman since I was a kid. I'm like, I have some really good ideas." And he's like, "Yeah, but we should do this." And yeah, and I realized the editor wanted to write the book, and I just knew it was going to be an issue. Like if I did it, so I turned it down. I was like, "Okay, I hate this. I hate that I'm saying no to this." But I know going into it, they want me to do something that I don't want to do. And I had a couple of great. I pitched them a couple of great stories, and it just didn't work out. And so it's like that's a career, right? It's like you this. I've been very lucky. I could say no to things because I've managed to position myself that I don't have kids, buddy. And you know how much money and time they take. And then I just positioned myself in the fact that I grew up with no money. So when I did get money, I did make sure I had my house and my car and everything paid for. So because I knew the more I needed to make money, the more would have to take work that I didn't want to do. And so I made my life comfortable without. I'm not a luxury person. You know me pretty well. I'm not a luxury person. I watch people fuss over things that in a million years I'm like, okay, whatever makes you happy. Um, but it gave me the freedom to kind of do the things that I wanted to do. And again, it's like I know how much of a great position it is to be in. And I've always said I feel so lucky about everything I do, but there's so much hustle behind that luck. it's like it's like there's so much hustle behind that luck, which is a lot of people don't understand that. They think they look at the surface of things and say, it's like movie people and singers and stuff like that. A guy plays a guitar, he's got to play probably a billion hours on that guitar to be really to be like Slash at least. He's probably in his head. He's probably finding a guy that he likes better than him and going, God, I wish I was good as that guy. So it's a never-ending thing, but it is what it is. I'm happy. I'm happy I do get to do a selection, and if I don't, I create a project for myself where I do get to flex those muscles there.
Well, I'm going to make one last comment. And then I'm going to open it up to Deanna. That was exactly what I was going to say. Andrew Campbell. That was what I was going to say.
Hmm.
I agree with this, Jimmy. The harder you work, the luckier you get. The more opportunities you create.
I also think you have to have some sort of personality. I think you need to go out there and sell yourself, and talk to people, and my beginning of my job was networking. You know this, buddy, right?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
were very good at it.
you used to see me come up to the Wizard when you were up there, and walk around and say hi to everybody, and um, how many other artists or writers or anything was talent were coming up there regularly. There wasn't a ton, it, you know, I understood that because I came from an advertising background. I understood what it was like to communicate with other people. To know when to leave the room is a book I can write. Like, I can write that book because, I always say there's some really talented people in this business. They just don't know when to leave the room. They don't know when to be quiet. They don't know when to. We see it all the time. We go, why is that guy more popular? Look at his work, and then I'll tell you why he's not, or she's not, and it has to do with other things. And this is a job where relationships are important. Loyalty is important, but loyalty is a one-way street. We are all loyal to the people we work for. The people we work for have very limited loyalty to us. Um, and unfortunately, that's true. But it's not going to change the way I am. I'm very loyal to whoever I'm working on. But I don't get it back. It doesn't come back very often. And that's just the nature of corporate America at this point. So that's sad, but it's true.
I would agree with that. I think that's a really good point, that you can be loyal, but you're not always going to get that, especially from a big company. They're not going to always hand that back to you, no matter
No,
how
they definitely look at us as very replaceable.
yeah,
Um,
even no matter what your credits list, right? It might be, it's the same thing. Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can, yeah. And you shake your head at it because you think sitting there and going, man, I made them so much money on this. Why can't they just understand that that's what I want to do, or let me do that? And then I realized, well, it has nothing to do with me. All they're worrying about is their own self, or keeping their job,
Yeah.
or hiring. A certain companies send out a thing that says you need to hire this kind of person or that kind of thing. And and I've seen that happen. I've seen people get work, and I go, how did they get that job? And then I realize, well, it had nothing to do with the actual work. You
Mm.
know, that always kind of kicks you in the butt, though, because I think that we see it in the books. Look, hundreds of comics come out a month, and only a handful are really, really great comics, like that are going to last a while. And there's a reason for that.
There's a question up there, and hold on, Jimmy, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
My wife wanted the Easter chocolate that we bought in advance
It's very important that she
for the
eats it
kids.
now.
This is for the kids, so she's literally coming down to steal the candy
She's
from the kids.
she's craving. She's craving the chocolate. She needs it.
You don't deny a woman her chocolate.
No, no.
She bought the candy for the kids, and what? And
Okay.
Here's the problem, buddy. She knows the chocolate's in the house,
Exactly.
and that's all there is to it. So it doesn't matter. She's like somewhere in her brain. It's going, wait, there's chocolate where Buddy is.
Yes.
that's right. She just said that's right, and you know my wife.
Yeah, she just like whatever she's doing. She's like, I have a sweet tooth right now. I want chocolate right now. Where is chocolate? Chocolate's with Buddy. Let me go over there and get it.
Yeah, but the problem with my wife is she's so tall and thin. She could eat as much chocolate as she wants. It'll never show up. It never shows up.
Yeah, but she loves you for the way you are. So don't worry about it so much.
She loves you. She loves me the way I am. Yeah, you
There's a lot
do.
of fire down there.
Yeah. And this is the secret bag. This is the New
Yeah,
York
not
Giant.
so secret now.
Well, the
No.
kids won't go in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, did you answer that? Did you?
No, it was just Redheaded Ed had a good comment. Show up early, buy around, smile a lot, and leave before the next drink is served.
Hmm.
See, I never left. I mean, I was always. Buddy will back this one up. I was the one that would make sure that the person gets to their room alive.
Mm.
Um, I will go as far as saying, and I'm not going to say there was another professional, very big name professional. I was in San Diego. This is many years ago, and we were out drinking. We closed the bars. It was like 2 o'clock or 2:30. They closed early over there, and I was going back, and there on the street was a creator I knew, completely trashed, and I borrowed a hotel luggage cart, and I put him on it, and I managed to get out of his mouth. He told me what hotel he was in. It was the Hyatt. We were nowhere near the Hyatt, And I was like, they had one of those bicycle jockey, you know, the bicycle guys, and I said, listen, I said, let me take and I took a pic. I said, let me see your ID, and I took a picture of it. I go, okay, you're gonna take this guy to the Hyatt. And I gave him like $40. You're gonna make sure he gets in there and gets to his room. I have your ID. If I'm gonna see this guy tomorrow, and the guy's like, I will absolutely take care of it. Don't you worry. And I was like, okay. And I got him shuffled up. And he did find me 2 days later, and he goes, "I think I owe you a thank you." And I said, "Yeah, and $40." I was like, but I'll never say who it is. But it's not somebody I even thought of. But I was like, okay, I can't walk by this guy. I have to take care of him. It's like this. I can't do it. That's
Well,
not something.
I will say, and this is a well-known thing. You threw great parties, and sometimes people will say, "What was the secret to breaking into comics?" And I would say, "Close the bar." And that was one of the things you taught me, which was,
Yeah,
if the party's going on, stay in the party. You can sleep tomorrow.
right. And I will.
And you taught me that, and like I was getting ready to drive back to Jersey, and you were like, "No, no, no, we're going to close the doors," and it became an after hours bar,
Yes.
and we just hung out, and that's where the best conversations happened.
Yeah, I mean, we had at one point in New York when Joe and I were doing Marvel Nights. We had openers, which buddy, the bar openers, and we knew the Pat and Noel and all the guys that worked there, and they would close the bar for us and let our friends stay there. But the other thing we had with that bar is when we had people come in from overseas, I would tell them to go there and grab something to eat and have a drink. And I remember when Steve Dillon passed away. This is
Mm.
not so many years ago, but it was a while ago. And remember Noel, the bartender Noel
Hmm.
that used to work there?
Yeah.
So every time Steve came into New York, it was always odd hours. He would go right to Openers, have a drink, and eventually he'd call me and say, "All right, I'm in the city, come get me," or let's I'm going to come up to Marvel, or whatever. And when he passed away, Noel put up like 100 drawings he had of Steve's
Wow.
because every time he sat at the bar, Steve would sketch for him,
Oh wow.
Wow.
and he had headshots of every character and creature.
Wow.
It's because I would pick up the tab for the bar. I would go in when they'd see me and I'd say who was in this week, and they would say, yeah, here's a tab for the bar. And I picked up. Yeah, I made sure that Steve ate something too. That was the other thing because
Wow.
he would drink a little too much. But it was sort of like the way station for a lot of the creators when they came in, and I understood it. I understood like we need a community here. I mean, even when Joe and I started, I think when we first sold Ash to DreamWorks, we threw a party at the X Bar in New York, and it was like 300 people. It was Marvel, DC, Valiant, and everyone from every company was invited. And I just remember I had some photos, and I said, "Oh, look, there's one with Dan DiDio with hair on his head," and I was like, "That's a while back," but I never understood the separation of the companies so much, like why they were button heads all the time, and I just thought, well, what's better marketing, what's networking than throwing a party and inviting everybody, and whether they like me or not, and it didn't matter. It's that everybody got to go together, and then they knew who I was, and that was part of the New York thing. It's like even if they weren't using me for work or something, they knew who I was, and that was my way of. I learned that from advertising to just take the people out, have a nice dinner, have some drinks, and don't embarrass yourself. Usually it was them embarrassing themselves and me cleaning up because I would not drink as hard as everybody else. I had the responsibility if it was my party that I would make sure everybody was taken care of. The people got into cabs. I remember one of the Cubers, I had to like get him a hotel room and you
Oh
know
boy.
stuff like that. Yeah, well, they just didn't whatever. They put their car in the parking lot that closed early and they didn't know it. And then when they went there, but like that kind of stuff. And but it was also good times, right? Because it's like you bond with people and you make friends for life and. I don't know. Comics are great, but I have more stories about comics, not doing comics, that would probably make a better book than the actual comics.
Well, let me jump in here because I want to show a couple of the photos that you shared with us.
Okay.
So a couple of throwback shots here. You in the
Okay.
younger days.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
this is we did some publicity shots for. I can't remember the photographer. Otherwise, I'd give him credit. I can't remember, but I think he was a wizard guy. I think he might have been a wizard guy. But we shot some stuff down in Coney Island for Joe and I when we were, they were thinking. So when I got into the business, I came from advertising, and part of it was like, if I'm going to make a living doing what I'm doing, I need to get my face out there because that's part of selling yourself. And so we had PR shots done like this. Joe and I went to Coney Island, which was where I lived, not too far from where I lived. And we did shots like this. I know we look like the worst Wham cover band, but you know, but it is a kind of a fun shot. I mean, it's a time frame photo, and yeah, man, I don't have that vest anymore. I used to have that
Yeah,
vest.
you were good. You were good. You're still a good-looking guy, but you're a handsome guy. Let me see if we get some other handsome guy photos. Oh no, wait. So
There's
Ash One comes out. You guys, I guess, probably best known for launching Ninjak, and then not soon after that, you're getting a lot of work, and you launch Event Comics
Yep.
with Ash. Ash is a visual masterpiece, but not soon after that, you start launching other books, and
Yes.
22 Brides, which was based on a band with
My
one of you
ex-girlfriend.
dated, right? Somebody
Yeah,
from.
Carrie, the second one in the red. It was her and her sister had a band called 22 Brides, and I said, "Oh, that's kind of a neat." I got an idea for a concept, and I said, "You mind if I use it?" And they're like, "No, anything to get our name out there." And I'm like, "Okay," and that's where Painkiller Jane premiered in that series.
So
Uh,
you probably knew pretty quickly that there was something special about Jane, because by issue 4, Jane is the cover.
yeah, I kind of, we this is the time Lady Death and She just came out, and and a lot Image was coming out, and I wanted to do write a character that um, had nothing to do with the TNA aspect of it. Now, that doesn't mean the artist didn't grab onto that, but I wanted to make it. Joe and I did a fireman, right? Ash was a New York fireman, and I said, well, why not do a New York cop who's no longer a cop, and we wanted to do a female character, create a female character that wasn't based on her bust size, because that seemed to be a very big thing back then. Um, and so Jane was like this tough, I modeled her after somebody I knew at the time, and she's a bisexual character, and she was our like Wolverine. Like she couldn't die, but she would not heal too quickly, and that's what. I mean, that cover is so ridiculous with the amount of bandages on it. It, it defies all reality. What the hell's going on? I remember inking that over Joe and laughing so much. I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like Spider-Man's webs. It's just so much all over the place. But anyway, we were experimenting, and we started our company with I think we had like 40 grand, and Joe and I put it together, and we were 3 people. We had a friend Lori Braddock working with us, but we said, well, if Image is doing it, why can't we do it? And I think Wizard Magazine was the ones that called us the East Coast Image, which we were laughing because it's like it's only me and Joe doing this stuff. But yeah, it was a fun character. I mean, Jane, we said we launched her out of there, and I was just dying to get her into her own book. We didn't have a lot of confidence at the time. We wanted to get a good writer on it, so we actually got Mark Waid and Brian Augustin to actually write the series. And then I was working with, I was doing Marvel Comics Presents. I was inking Rick Leonardi on a Ghost Rider Doctor Strange story, and I said, hey man, would you do some if we pay you, will you do some comics for us? And that's where when we started Painkiller Jane 1, that's how we got Rick Leonardi. I was just working with him, and I said, well, I'll link you on this book too. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? And so we launched Jane not too long after that.
So you're beginning to build your publishing empire. You're creating books. I think this was George Perez, right? Crimson
It was
Plague.
George, and then Trace Ballou, who was Mystery Science Theater, wrote The Big People, and that's Amanda drew that book. we did. George wanted to do Crimson Plague with us, and George was a friend, and we were like, okay, yeah, man, we'll take it. He just wanted to do something it's very adult book at the time. But we were looking at, trying not to expand too much, but it's basically, if you look at all our books, it's everybody we know, like it's all our friends doing them. And Kid Death and Fluffy was like it's that book is so insane. I don't even know how to explain it. If you read it now, it's so wrong. It's just it's so wrong. Everything about it is out of control. The Big People was a great book. Trace Ballou and Amanda did a great job on that. That was about a story about alien women from another planet come and they just want to take care of the men. And the men are loving that these giant women are babying them. And it's so that comic is so crazy. But as an adult, I completely understand it now. I think as a kid, I was like, "What the hell is this book?" And I was like, "Whatever." And then we did Ash 22 Brides. We figured to do our own crossover. We had our buddy Umberto Ramos. The crazy story with that book is I finished inking that book, and then FedEx lost it.
Oh no!
Yeah, never to be found again. So I had to ink the book from using Xeroxes again.
Oh my God! And Humberto, he's not drawing big lines; he's drawing detail.
No, dude, look at that. I brought the package into FedEx. They gave me a receipt, and then it never made it to the printer. And then I went back in the office. They said, "Well, this number's not in our system." I'm like, "You handed me this receipt. You took the box from me." He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember. We have it on video of us taking the box." I'm like, "Well, where is it?" And they're like, "We don't know what happened to it." Thank God they came out with the scanners and files and everything. But back then, we used to have to shove 22 pages of a comic into a FedEx box and hope to God it got to the publisher.
It didn't.
I think A. Campbell does not see a problem with giant women taking care of baby men.
Yeah, no, I mean, he probably wants a giant woman to take care of him. I mean, at least she's burping that guy on the cover, which is like, really look at that cover by Amanda. Amanda did that cover. She's burping this guy who just ate. Then he's in his pajamas. He's got his like shorts on with little things on his shirt. The book is so crazy. Trace definitely had a great time doing that, and Amanda stepped up to the plate. Amanda did a great job on that.
All right, so now we move ahead, and I remember meeting you guys. You were celebrities by the time I met you. I mean, you guys were rock stars at conventions. One of the things that was notable is you treated your fans so well. You took the time to speak with everybody. You signed everything that was in front of you. You guys looked like you were having fun, and you made it fun.
Yeah, we were on drugs the whole time. No, I'm kidding. No, it was, look, I was a comic fan, right? So I got to be on the other side of the table, and I wasn't gonna be an idiot when I did it. I was gonna make sure I want to be everything I am that I've always wanted when I meet professionals to be. Like I learned from some of the best, because some were rude to me when I was younger, some were nice. And I was like, and I realized, like, okay, if I want to make a connection with people, I have to be genuine and alert and be on time and not leave my booth in 2 hours to go eat lunch for 4 hours. Like I've always tried to keep it really professional. And Joe and I both had the same work ethic. Like, the people are important. This is before the internet, right, buddy? This is before computers and everything. So when people met us, that was sometimes the only time they would ever see us. Yeah.
And so what do you remember about these two shots? Do you remember where you were? Or?
I think one of them is the one on the left might be San Diego. It's either San Diego or Wizard World Chicago. It's one of the two. I remember that's Nancy when I guess Joe first started dating Nancy. That's like right when he first started dating.
One of the rare photos of the mysterious never to be photographed Nancy Dickezian, right?
Yeah, she was working at Archie at the time. So
yeah.
and they started dating. And I'm looking at the table because it's like a wooden table. Like that's the odd thing that's standing out for me.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like an odd
And
thing.
there's
And
that FedEx box, Jimmy,
there,
right
I
there.
think my
There's the
22
FedEx.
cards
That's
book
what
is in
happened to the
there.
FedEx box.
How great would that be? It's like, But actually, back then we used to use them to bring the artwork everywhere. So we used to use the FedEx boxes.
And then,
Um,
and then where
and
are
then
you here?
this looks like a local convention because I don't, there's somebody right behind us too, like in blue jeans and a blue shirt. Oh no, that looks like. I was gonna say Mark Wiskowski, but is it not Mark? I don't. Maybe it
No,
is.
no. You know what this looks like? Remember that year they had it at right after they had the circus at the garden or something, and it smelled
Oh
like
yeah, the outer part. I mean, it does look like a big building outside the window back there.
yeah, like a loading dock back there.
This is when we first started though, because it has the Kid That Fluffy and the visuals on the walls there. I think I'm signing an Ash number 5 or 4 there. I think. Anyway, these were just we had T-shirts. We made T-shirts with our logos. We did it is such a '90s photo. It absolutely is. Everybody's shirts and everything.
All right, let me
But
jump ahead here. Let me jump ahead. There's
okay.
another one of you got. Okay, obviously MegaCon '96 is right there.
Yeah, look at that. That was when Beth Woodera, maybe it was Beth Woodera was running that show, but yeah, man, that was MegaCon was in Orlando. Actually, I'm going to it in 2 days again, so there you go. But there's my old teeth. I had a a long history with my teeth. That's another book in itself. But let's just say I've had the front of my teeth kicked in at one point.
Well, your teeth look great now.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of work. I had braces back then, and then what happened was the metal on the braces stained my teeth all the way
Hey,
across.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was a mess. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Look at Joe. Look how pretty he is.
very pretty. All right, so I think this is the Leonardi that you mentioned, right? This one.
No, oh yeah, the blue one. The yes, that
So
was a regular series,
you
and
had your buddy Darwin did this,
yeah,
right?
that's Darwin. Like Painkiller Jane lighting a cigarette off her burning arm. And
Oh, I didn't even notice that. And then you had what is a photo cover? You had a cosplay
no,
cover or something?
that's she's a famous illustrator, Sass Christian. She's a not known in comics, but in another field, illustration. She painted that.
That's a painting?
Yeah, that's an acrylic painting. Uh, she did that. Yeah, man. She that thing's gigantic, and she sold it right away, which I was bummed because she literally she had a waiting list of people that would buy her paintings. There's mostly galleries, but the minute she did that, somebody bought it right away. Because I was like, "Hey, I'd like to buy that." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I just sold it." I'm like, "Wow."
It's already sold. And then this is Peach Momoko?
Yeah, Peach. That's Peach. Yeah, she's. I met Peach years ago. Amanda and I met Peach and her husband Yo years ago, and we would get together in San Diego and have breakfast or lunch and stuff. And then she blew up, man. She just was like, she was a sweet kid that would do drawing. Oh my God, there's Cat.
Yeah, it's
Hey,
Cat Bueller, right?
yeah.
Cat.
Hey, hello, Cat. Um, Yeah, Peach was just she blew up. Like she used to do she would bring these little drawings. She would do a little watercolor and drop it off at our table, like at the con. And she was a big fan. She was a big fan of Amanda's. So we used to see them, and then we finally got to know them and grab some meals with them. And I asked her, "Would you do some Painkiller Jane work for me?" She did a couple of covers and some inside pages too. She's
Wow,
terrific.
she's
Yeah,
terrific.
yeah.
All right. And then suddenly Hollywood came calling, Jimmy, changing
It's true.
changing everything. You had got to go on set of the show. You got to
Yeah.
write and direct.
I
This is a
didn't direct.
pretty
I produced. I didn't direct. That was another story. But I definitely did produce and write episodes, and I was on the set for a couple of months.
yeah. I think we have a set photo of you. This is you got to become friends with Christiana.
Yeah. We're still buddies. Talked to her not too long ago.
Yeah, I remember meeting her and being struck by just how tall and beautiful she was in real life.
She is, and she's a brawler. Like she will hang out with us, like the guys. She'll hang out with the guys. I like that about her. She's the first one to tell me, let's go challenge those guys at the pool over there. You know, that's Christina. She's not very Hollywood, I will say. Although looks wise, of course.
Well,
That's
what
us.
happened? I mean, so you had this show. How did you get the show, and then why didn't it last?
Well, that's us in New Zealand. I remember where that was taking place. So that we were in, yeah, I think it was New Zealand. We did a show there. So the show, so the initial thing, there was a 2 hour movie with Emmanuel Vajir and also the guy. He just passed away recently. Now I'm forgetting my actors. I'm so sorry, but he just Eric Bain, is that it? Eric is
No,
the actor.
was it this early
Eric Dane.
photos?
Eric Dane. He's right there with her they're
Wasn't he?
sitting over
Is,
the
is
dock
that
like looking.
McDreamy or?
Yes, it is. Yeah, he was in the initial movie and that was shot in Vancouver. I was up there for the shoot and it was interesting. They kind of you know both adaptations kind of looked at the comic and said, we love the name and we like this part of it, but we're going to still do our own thing. And that was Hollywood back then.
eh,
Um,
Now, Deanna, do you remember any of these when they were coming out, or were
No.
you like,
Sci-Fi Channel. You had to watch Sci-Fi Channel, otherwise you
Um,
wouldn't. You know
it's
it.
it's interesting. My mom was always a very big sci-fi channel watcher, and this was when was it released? What year? Do you remember?
95 or 96 maybe.
So not to reveal my age,
I'm,
but
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
no,
Wait, no,
90? You didn't. You launched
no, not sorry, not
Ash in
95. It was
'96, right?
like 2003 maybe or four.
yeah. So I
Mhm.
probably wasn't quite as I wasn't at that point paying much attention because of my age.
Look, this 2 hour movie came and went,
Yeah.
but from this, it got good ratings, and they said we want to do a series, and the series was with Christina and these guys, Rob and those guys over there, um, and that was 22 1 hour episodes, and that is available. You can watch it on I think Tubi and whatever. It's on a lot of channels,
How does it hold
and
up? Does it
it
hold
was
up?
what's that?
How
Does
does
it
it
hold
hold
up?
up?
Some episodes are better than others. I I'm too close to it, so I'm not the person to ask. You,
I
you
was
really need to have somebody else.
I was going to ask you how much creative control did you have over the TV show? Because like when you go Hollywood, they do kind of take it from you, don't they?
They did the first time with the 2 hour movie, next to nothing. I will say they just did their own thing, and we were happy we sold it, and we were all that. The second time, they made me a producer on it, and I worked with the writers' room. I wrote the 13th episode called The League. Um, I oversaw it, but the Sci-Fi Channel wanted it to be more of a sci-fi show and less of a cop action superhero movie type thing. So the show became this other thing. But I managed to, I worked in the writers' room, and that was great. And we were up in the Universal building, and that was a lot of fun. And I got to be on the set, a lot. But I kept. What happened? Here's what you do. You learn that number one, nobody cares you created the show. They're nice to you on the set initially, so you have to win them over. But the problem with this show is we had a different director every episode because that's how they did TV. It was Stars Channel that put it together, and so every episode had a different director, and they each had like what they wanted to do in their head, which had nothing to do with the other director. Um, and some of them I got along with great, and then like one or two of them I did not get along with, and I would say, that's not really the character. They would change the script. I remember the one that I wrote. I got into a little bit of a brawl, not a fighting brawl, but just a verbal brawl because the director was insecure, and he saw me talking to some of the actors, and he made a big stink of it, and the people had to be talked to because they're like, no, that's they each come in with this ego, like you can't,
Mm.
the ones that didn't have the egos were actually the better directors. They actually were, I had one of them that would ask me 100 questions, like, how do you think we should do this, and what do you do? And we had a great DP that I would sit with the DP most of the time. and we'd go, okay, what's the best way to do this shot and kind of stuff. It was like going to film school and getting paid for it.
Mm.
Does the show hold up? I'm like, I think a couple of episodes are really good. Some of them are not. The first one's fun. Kristana's great in them, but you know, overall, it definitely could improve. It used improvement, and the reason it didn't get a second season is a funny thing because there was we actually the audience was the numbers were good, especially with women. But what happened was a strike. I think an actor strike or a writer strike went on, and everything got dumped, and we just didn't get the renewal. It just turned out that everything they had in the place was shuffled now to some other. Everybody broke apart and went to different shows, and once you have that, to get the cast back was next to impossible because everyone went to do something else.
Yeah. So let's see. A. Campbell has, what was the biggest challenge going from writing comics to TV, if any? It's a good question.
Yeah, so there's format, right? A script page is usually a minute, right? Usually a minute, unless you have a montage or some craziness. Um, I honestly, when I wrote the dialogue, I would say it out loud when I was writing the
Mm.
script. I would have people saying it, and I'd be like, that's not natural, and that's too much, or that's too much information, or if we're showing it, we don't need to tell it. If we're
Mhm.
telling it, we don't need to show it, right? So that was the rule. Kept trimming the script down. I kept going, okay, if I'm showing it, I don't need to tell it. So I take dialogue out, you know. So there's different. Comics helped because we understood the different voices, different characters. That stuff is great because a lot of screenplays are weak because all the voices of the screenwriter sometimes. And comics, we learn to put different voices of different characters. The pay was a hell of a lot better. I will say that. um, I think the most fun I've had on the set, honestly, was the episode I wrote. They let me do the casting for all the other characters on the show.
Mm.
So they put me in a room and they had all these people trying out. We had like 7 other parts, and people come in and read, and they said, "That's yours. You're going to decide who's on the show." And I did it like a camp. I had everybody who was trying out the one part in a room, and I said, "Okay, here's the backstory with the character. Here's where his quirk is. Okay. Just remember all this stuff when you go in to read, if you can
Hmm.
apply it to your reading."
Mhm.
And then we videotape each one. But the woman that was helping me do it, she's like, I never had anybody go out and do that with the people out there. And I said, well, I think it gives them some kind of focus, right? Don't they, it's only words unless they know what the story is. And she's like, no, it's great, but we usually just don't do that. Like I'm like, all right, I don't know. Um, so that was like a real lot of fun because I got to meet like 100 people in a matter of 2 days acting their asses off, and the ones I picked I thought were the best. I just said, so that was like an unexpected fun thing to because I never thought I would do that, and I was supposed to direct an episode, so I actually was training with the DP, and I was actually training with a director I knew, John Singleton, was actually helping me train for that job, but it fell apart because of some Canadian stuff, law, and all this kind of thing. Is long story, fell apart, but I was training for it for a while for the episode I was going to direct, and that fell apart. So I was bummed it never happened.
Yeah,
Uh, but I'm happy what happened. But it lasted 22 episodes. It made it easier for me when I got the rights back to go out and sell it again and sell it again, and we did. We had we had another deal that fell apart, and I'm actually on another one right now. So that nothing dies in Hollywood. You know that. If once the name's out there, it doesn't go away. Did I ever think of animating it? No. I never did think of animating it because I think if I was doing Ash, I would animate Ash, right?
Huh.
But Jane was always a visceral, very like simple character. It was not it was not an over the top character. It wasn't like Sin City or wasn't like it was very straightforward. I would say like the movie Red Sparrow. It was that kind of like intensity and action. Would animating it be cool? Of course, I would love that. Now, I have so many people trying to talk me into AI, and I'm like, no, don't. I'm like, it's not for me to do. My whole thing is to partner with somebody that wants to do the best thing we can. But I would say Ash is a better animated thing than Jane. I think Jane could still be a great actress, and it's a drama role.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would work out pretty well. All right, let's move along. We're on Creator Corner. So, final thing we're going to talk about, Jimmy. I think I got the wrong slide.
I
We'll
love
come
that
back to
photo.
it.
I love that. I love that photo because that's Chrisana right there. Like that attitude, like we're hanging out. That's us hanging out on stage, and it looks like we're so damn comfortable. Like, and we're in a giant auditorium full of people, and we're just sitting there laughing, and she's picking on somebody in the audience or something. And she was great with people, you know. Yeah, so like I said, I still talk to her. She just had a film come out not too long ago that I watched and gave her some feedback. She's a
I
great person.
remember her. I remember you introducing me to her, and she was just so nice. She just was like a regular. She hugged me, and I was like, "Hi."
Hello.
And I was like this. I was like, hugging her like this.
She's 5'10", I
Yeah.
think five, 5'10" or 5'10 and a half. But she always had those heels on, and yeah. I mean, but just I agree with you. I wasn't used to that many tall women in my life. You
She was,
know.
and she was nice and she was funny. But I think we're going to come back in 1 second to
Okay.
the final part, which is talking about your Kickstarter. But first, Jimmy, we need to tell you, Deanna launched her own show
Okay.
recently. Deanna, why don't you tell Jimmy what your show is about, and then
And
we'll.
why we're in the corner?
I put you in a corner.
Yeah.
Um, Creator Corner. So it's one-on-one intimate interviews with different creators, primarily independent creators. Some of them have worked for Marvel, DC, some of the bigger companies, but they do a lot of their own creator-owned projects and Kickstarters, or just they fund them themselves. And we had 2 episodes so far, but tomorrow, the third episode, we have Liana Kangas on. And I don't know if you know Liana, but huge blow up recently. I knew Liana for years, and then up until recently, they started getting lots of works, lots of cover work, interior work, and Eisner. So
Oh, there
we're
you
very
go. That's always good.
yeah, so we're very excited for Liana's interview tomorrow.
So what we
Very
do,
cool.
Jimmy, is it's not easy to make a show like any of these YouTube shows, and they're surprisingly expensive if you pay for the software.
Right.
So we drop an episode for free on YouTube
Hmm.
with a highlight, and if you would like to get the entire episode, you can go to Deanna's Patreon
Okay.
and pick up the full interview.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I've had, this buddy. I've had so many people ask me, why don't you do a show? Why don't you do a show? And I always go, okay, I'm really good with the can opener. And,
You're muffling. Your audio is really
sorry.
bad. Right.
Um, I, I, they asked me, why don't I do a show like this? And I'm like, I don't really, it's a lot of work. And people think it's like just turn on the camera and do a show. And I'm just like, oh my God, no. Like, it's so much easier being a guest.
It is. You show up and you talk about what you know about. Whereas
It's
each week
really,
I have to create new slide graphics and all the
no,
promotions. A lot of work.
you're like I just somebody with an unlimited paycheck would just invest in you and let you do your thing, because it's like there's more passion. You so much passion over the years in what you do and what you love, and I just don't see a lot out there. I see a lot of people talking up comics, and the end. I mean, that show sounds perfect, right? It sounds great. For something I would like. But so many people are just trying to get attention for saying terrible things or stupid things, and and I'm just like, you're in a position I'm in. I don't even want to do those shows. It's like, why would I? I'm like, I like people. Why would I pick on someone? Or not everybody's a great artist, but they're trying to get better. Why would you terrorize them? And I always, buddy, you've never done that. You've always celebrated everybody, and like I said, it's something. I think it's very unique and very appealing. But I wish look, Elon Musk is how much money he's throwing away, right? Just let him give you a couple of million and just do your thing, man. I don't get
I
it.
know, just a little bit of money here and there, it'd be very helpful. And
Yeah, man. I always said I really make a really good rich person. I think if I had like crazy money, because I would definitely be like spreading it everywhere.
well, I have to tell you, Jimmy, and I know this will make you blush a little bit, but there was a time when you were making a lot of money and you did share it. You were very generous. I remember, I distinctly remember, and I'll embarrass you a little bit. I'll get a little inside baseball. You had Garth write something for you,
Hmm.
and you gave Garth a check for something, and Garth literally said to you as you were standing there, Jimmy, this is too much, and you were like, no, 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 you really earned it. And what that showed me, and I said, did you give him a lot of money? And you were like, yeah, I gave him a lot of money, and you were very transparent that you were sharing the wealth. Like there was money, and you shared that wealth, and I mean that left a big impression on me.
Well, I think I try to live my life like that. I mean, I try to put myself in somebody else's footsteps, and God did something for me. I don't even remember what it was, but he probably, he did. He's the guy that will work for his friends. you know, he'll work for and he did something. Maybe it was the pro.
I think it
Maybe
was the pro.
it was the pro. Yeah. I mean, we literally came up with the pro. We were in a bar in Germany, and Amanda was drawing on the napkin, and we just made up the whole story, and then he went and wrote it. Oh no, you know what? It might have been back to Brooklyn actually, because I wrote this story, and then he wrote the comic based on my story, and whatever it was, you got to take care of your friends. I mean,
But when you had money, you shared it. You threw
yeah.
parties. Nobody took their wallets out. You
Oh
threw
no, how
parties.
many dinners I paid for, or bar tabs. My dad taught me that early on. If you're able to take care of people, take care of them. My dad died broke, but still, had a happy life.
They probably had a lot of friends.
Yeah, he had a lot of friends. Oh my God, yeah. I mean, but my dad was always like fun first, have fun first, like fun first. If these are your friends, have a great time. Just pick up the tab. Don't cry about it. Don't. And I do. I would sneak and just pay a damn thing because I was like, I'd watch 3 or 4 people fight over it, or they fight because they didn't want to pay, you know. And I'd be like, it's only money comes and goes, man. It's like our whole life it comes and goes. So the memories go on forever when you can remember them.
When- All right, so we're almost to the end. Here we are. So
Okay.
okay, here we go. So you can follow us on all the socials. You can find us on all the places, even TikTok. For some reason, it's taking off for us. We do have patrons on our Patreon. We thank all of the Patreon
Hey,
supporters:
Mark
Mark
London,
London,
man.
Matthew Gilfin, Redheaded Ed, Michael Giff, James McGill. Thank you guys for taking good care of us. You can find a lot of different resources on our Patreon. And of course, you can find Deanna's Patreon and the Creator Corner at her Patreon. And of course, Mike Fasolo is writing a novel in real time. But probably more important than anything else, and we say this all the time, if you appreciate what our guest has done, the best way to say thank you is to support what they are doing and buy their books. I can tell you that I take my own medicine.
There you go.
I do support my friends and get their Kickstarters. Jimmy puts out wonderful books, high quality. You didn't have to hold on. I'll take this down. You didn't have to put this much into the production, but that is a goddamn nice book.
Yeah.
And this one's the sealed copy. I have
Oh,
a sealed copy. I have an
Amanda's awesome.
unopened copy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
an open copy. These are really top quality books. So if you want to support a great Kickstarter for somebody who supports independence, Jimmy's is the way to go. Jimmy, how long is your Kickstarter running for?
It's running for 30 days. I think it's on 15 days left. So we got 2 weeks left. I'm hoping that MegaCon, I have a little sign that they can scan it so I can arm wrestle people to back it. But we're doing good. I mean, 531 back is nothing to sneeze at. And, there's a lot to this book because it is 30 years. There's like some of the best covers in there and then a whole bunch of new pieces by other people in there. It's Amanda did that piece, of course, that beautiful piece with the that you're looking at it. That's Amanda.
Well, and one of the things that you said during an episode where we had you on is that you take a lot of pride in people becoming return buyers and return supporters to your
Yes.
Kickstarter, in part because you really take care of them. It's there's always something extra. You know, I got this book. I didn't know it would come signed. It came. I mean, I can get it signed from you, but
Sure.
it came signed. You know,
Yeah.
and that was really
Yeah.
nice.
Well, I put myself in a position of people where they can go to a comic shop and buy a million things for cheaper. Um, this is like, it's funny because Kickstarter, while it as it got, people started using it more. There's two audiences now with Kickstarter. There's the people that support you because they like your stuff, and there's the other people that are buying books. They're buying the Kickstarters because they're limited edition books. And I didn't realize the collector's market was so big until we did Pop Kill, and then I saw the secondary market on the Adam Hughes books where they're going for over $1,000 each because we only did 300 of them,
What?
and so there's a lot of people. So we try to make these. I mean, they are limited to whatever people buy. We only overprint by 10%. That's our rule. So if it comes down to the fact that each book has to maybe gets 500 copies, we'll print another 10% because we have to cover for damages, things down the line. I just had somebody write me from a Kickstarter 5 years ago. I never got my book, and then I had to go in and look, and Patrick and I go in and we look at it and say that you never gave us your address. And we're like, oh my God, I forgot to do that. We have to have these books available because
Did you give him the book?
Of course, of course. Because I don't like that. Don't get me wrong. The last thing I want to do is get up and go Thursday. I have to go in the office to find that book and to get it to this guy who couldn't fill out his address. We only sent him 12 emails about it too. It's like a whole list of emails, and he goes, I never saw those. And this happens all the time. But my thing is, I want 100% happy customer. I want everyone to make sure they got the book. They tell you can cut off like after a while if people don't get in touch a certain amount of time you can cut off. But I don't believe in that. I feel if somebody paid for something, they should get it. But the thing about this is, so there's like a lot to a Kickstarter these days because now a lot of people doing it, as you know. So I have to just make sure mine look better than everything else. Production wise, we deal with a printer that's in Fort Myers. It's a couple of hours from here. I pick out the paper quality, the spot varnish. I pick out the binding. Everything is handpicked. I want to make sure my books are much better than anything any of the companies are putting out because the big companies, because they mass produce, and this isn't mass produced. I literally can write a note to everyone that backed this Kickstarter.
Well, one of the things that you see in your social feeds is that you're a collector.
Yes.
You have a great passion for collecting. So when I get this book, I know it's made by another collector. I'm a collector,
Yes.
and when I buy this, and I will note, that you're on the forever comp list for all the things that you've done for me. You know that I will give you everything that comes out. You still support my Kickstarters, which is just a testament.
Well, I don't expect, I'm not. It's not like I go back in my hotel room and there's gifts from the studios. I don't want to take money. I don't want to take money out of. When people try to give me their books at conventions, I always say, give it to me Sunday if you have any left.
Sell it. I tell them sell it.
Sell it.
Send me a PDF.
I never come back Sunday to get it, but I'm just saying I'd rather than make the money because I usually probably bought it already if I'm the joke is I have by my side these are the things I got yet to read because these are new books I picked up from the store and it's just like I'm a consumer, man. I consume. I read a lot. I read a lot of new books. My pull list is every number one that comes out.
Wow.
So every week, except for Marvel and DCs, I don't get any Marvel and DCs because their number ones are the same thing I've read 800 times over. So independent companies, Image, Boom, so many different Man Cave, everything. I get their number ones, and I read them, and I get to them, and I look, and sometimes I look, I'm like, look at the coloring on that. The art's terrible, but I gotta make a note of that colorist's name, or I read it, and I'm like, that guy's really good. She did a great job. How do I get in touch with this person? And you know, I make notes and I save the books, and then I give all the ones I read already to my brother Pete. I send them a random box once in a while full of comics. I have one that weighs like 800 pounds that I have to break up because I realize.
I remember going to your house in Brooklyn, and you had comics stacked as high as they could be without tumbling over, stacks of original art, and you said take whatever you want. If you want
Yeah.
anything, take whatever you want. You were always
When,
generous
when I
to a
moved,
fault.
when I moved, I had before I was moving, I had a couple of friends come over, and I had all like hundreds of statues. All these Randy Bowens, and I said, I'm not taking any of them. Anyone who wants them, take them off the wall. And I have friends walking out with like 30 of them, and I'm like, I'm laughing because they're like, why aren't you taking those? And I said, because by the time they get to where I'm going, they're gonna be broken.
Yeah,
You know, and I don't need them. I don't need a house full of little people. Like I like the statues. If it was something personalized, I kept it. If it was something one of a kind, I kept it. It was a character, sure. Everything else, how many Batman? I don't need Batman statues. Like how many Batman statues does somebody need? I don't get that. Um, but this stuff is made to be given out. Look, one day I'll kick the bucket, and then a whole new group of people can come in and clean this place out.
that's right. That's right. Well, yeah. Any final thoughts before we go?
Yeah, but if you're interested in the Kickstarter, go to the page and just take a look at the page, see if there's something in interest to you. It is not a comic book; it is a art book. So it's comic book format, but it's a collection of illustrations. So it's the best of the best in there. It's just a beautiful book. If you're interested in the character, you're interested in certain artists. We have covers by Sean Murphy and Peach, and Tim Bradstreet did a piece. Of course, Amanda did a beautiful cover. But it's for the artist lover, and there's a little history in there. I think I sent you. Did I send you the PDF, buddy?
Yeah, you sent me the PDF, and what I did really enjoy was your reflection on 30 years of working on this character, and I thought that was really, it was touching that like you're reflecting back on this moment in time 30 years ago, and
Yeah.
here you are still working on this character. I thought that was
Yeah,
nice.
I love to get. I have two books that are. I'm finishing a Painkiller Jane. I have two graphic novel size books that I'm finishing up, and I love the character. It's not the most famous. It's not the biggest character, but it still has a life to it, and you know. Uh, like I said, that's all I need. I have a million stories to tell, like yourself, buddy, and probably Deanna at this point, right?
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
figuring. Are you a writer, Deanna? Do you write
Yes,
at all?
yes, I do.
All
I,
right. Yeah. So you totally get it. I mean, that's if one day you'll have me on your show, Deanna. You can put me in the corner. But I love the questions about writing because I think it's still like even though everybody does it, it's nice to take it apart
yeah,
sometimes. To dissect because we spent the last hour just talking about me and my past, but where the stories come from is a whole other animal, and I kind of like that.
that's why I like talking about on my show. We do a lot of that. We kind of deep dive into process, and people give their tips. And I've said it before in previous episodes where not everybody has the same path. Everybody comes from a different perspective, so it's really good for our audience because they get to see there's no right way. It's how your brain processes it, how you work with other people that can get you where you want to go. And that's what I love about the interviews I've done so far is the tips and the advice that people have given. So no, I agree with you. I love process stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because we all have our this is my therapy talking. We all have a picture. We have a picture of ourselves, and we think that's what people look at us for what we. And then we have our insecurity self, right? That our self that we're questioning everything all the time and everything. And it's interesting if you can get past that first level. It's not always easy. Um, because I remember somebody told me once, they said the things you say to yourself, that whether they're true or not, will eventually become what you are.
Hmm.
Because your body's accepting that, and it's I have a doctor friend who used to say the people that came in to the hospital, because he always dealt with people. He dealt with people during COVID. He dealt with like people that were really sick from COVID, and he said he could tell within 2 minutes of talking to each person if they were going to make it.
Oh my
And
God.
I said, what was it? And he says the way they would talk, they would say, we can beat this thing, right? We're going to do this. We're going to nail. And then the people would be like, yeah, I don't know, like he said in 2 minutes I would know if they were fighters or not. And
Wow.
that has everything to do with everything that led up to that moment in that person's life, whether they have the fight in them or not. And it's a decision, because
Sure.
your body reacts to it. So if you keep telling yourself you're not too smart, eventually you're going to believe that you're not too smart, and then you're going to act like you're not too smart. So you have to be careful about how you put yourself down or how you position yourself, because I think the body will react to that. It reacts to that brain, that thing you keep telling the brain, and
Sure.
So, but anyway, we're gonna get, that's part two, right? Somebody
Yeah,
else.
we got the therapy as part 2.
Yes.
There you
Well,
go.
therapy is part of writing, because you have to analyze why people do things, and I've always had the hardest part of writing comics for me was the bad guy.
All right, Jimmy. This looks like we're about over.
The Academy Awards. It's like
The Academy Awards. We thank you so much for joining. We went a little bit over that we were supposed to. We thank you, Jimmy. Everybody should like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you support Jimmy's Kickstarter, because he is a wonderful supporter of independent creators. We thank you, Jimmy, for making this possible, for making Comic Book School possible, and for all your support over the years. Guys, we'll see you again next Tuesday, as we see you every Tuesday.